right, welcome to Beyond Influence, y'all. We're excited to have Lexi Smith with us today, someone who has got a incredible following from her pet Dalmatian with a heart-shaped nose. So lovely. Lexi, how you doing?
I'm good. Doing all right. It's been a good week. Lots of fun stuff going on.
Well, lots of fun stuff. Scott, how's your week going, man?
It is great. It is gray in the Northwest, but trying to eke out the last ounce of summer before Pacific Northwest sadness hits in. But
yeah, I'm a little disappointed because I waited all rainy season for the sun to come out, and then the sun was out for like 2 months.
Welcome to Seattle and Portland. I think that's going to be your foreseeable future. But
yeah,
actually, I will say Portland summer was amazing this year. It's like, yeah, outside, it was beautiful, sunny. It brought life back. So we'll see. It's just enough to survive another gray, rainy winter this winter.
Yeah. Lexi, you're in Denver, right?
I am in Denver. We had a hot summer. It's been very hot here, but gave us a lot of opportunities to escape up to the mountains and cool off and hang out with the dogs up there. So I'll take it.
I feel like Denver's got to be one of the best places in the summertime to be outside.
Oh, Denver summers, they're unmatched. I don't think I could ever leave them.
Yeah, I got to get back out there.
Is it kind of like a dry, like a coolish air, or are we talking? Because I don't like to do East Coast for summer, right? Like I moved out here. My wife is always like, hey, let's move back to DC. And I'm like, no. I'm not moving back to that area just purely because of the summers. If I could be there for the fall and come back for for every other time, I'd be okay with that. But how's the temperature Denver wise? Does it get humid?
It's very, very dry here. Very dry climate. You got to carry chapstick, like 5 tubes of chapstick everywhere you go. But it's a dry heat. So in the summer, we get all 4 seasons, which is awesome. Summer, it's like high 80s to low hundreds, kind of ranging in there. And then winters, we get the snow. All the snow sports. People go crazy for that.
Yeah, we were just out in Utah, and it's crazy that part of the country, like just how the weather swings. You'll have like 4 feet of snow in winter, and then it's like arid desert. But you were outside a lot based on your Instagram profile with Wiley. So I'm curious, diving in now for our guests and hearing a little bit about your journey. And now we get the guest appearance in the back by the man himself. So, for our guests who don't know you, maybe talk a little bit about, your rise in social media and discovering, your following and Wiley.
Yeah. So I've been doing it for coming up on 7 years now, which kind of makes me sad because that means Wiley's almost 7 years old, which feels old. But I got him as a puppy. I got this Dalmatian with a perfect heart-shaped nose just kind of plopped into my life, which is like, this is cool. What can I do with this? I created an Instagram just to store photos because my phone had been stolen right before it, and I needed a place to keep photos in case I lost all my photos again. And to not bombard my friends and family with dog pictures nonstop if they didn't want to follow that on my personal page. So I started this Instagram, and I don't know fully how people started getting word of this dog with the heart-shaped nose, but it seems like one day it was like I had 12 followers, and it was my dad, my aunt, and her coworkers at the post office, I had 1,000 followers to 5,000 followers to 10,000 followers. And I was getting DMs from People Magazine. And I was on TV in Brazil on E! News and all this stuff. It just blew up really fast. And the dog with the heart-shaped nose kind of took off from there. I think for me, it was something like, yes, I have this dog with a heart-shaped nose. Yes, I could ride the heart-shaped nose for as far as it goes. But also, I wanted to do something more with that. I live in Colorado, which we just talked about how incredible it is. So I kind of made it this intersection of, yes, I have a cute dog, and we get to live a really cool life together and go hike and take some incredible photos and some incredible landscapes. So been having fun with that ever since.
That's awesome. So 7 years, that would be 20. I'm trying to think about the algorithm and kind of I think there's been these like phases of Instagram, and it's like, okay, you took these still images with like photo frames and some filters versus like, then you start, and versus today, it's like all algorithm. I think there was kind of this middle ground in 17 where it was more, individual pieces of content being shared could take off in a different way. So that was, you talked about all the virality that happened, but was there like a first post or something that where it's just like, this is the one that caught the world by storm and took off?
Yeah, there was two. The first one, actually, I didn't even post. Wiley's vet took a selfie with Wiley and posted it on Reddit, and it made the front page of Reddit. And I was just going about my day and got this panicked call from my veterinarian because he's like, I don't know if HIPAA laws apply in my practice. I posted this picture. I didn't ask you first. It's going viral. You're going to find out about it. Is it okay? So that kind of started it, and he pointed them towards the Instagram from there. And then there was just a post of baby Wiley sitting there with his paws crossed that We Rate Dogs reshared and posted. And they always get a ton of attention with any dog, especially if you get like a 12 out of 10 on their rating scale. So
is that an Instagram account or a site? What is We Rate Dogs?
We Rate Dogs, yeah. It's this big Instagram account where they take photos of dogs and give them these ratings. And it's always like 14 out of 10 or 12 out of 10. It's a fun account, just cute dog pictures or any dog that goes viral. And then they do like a TikTok roundup of the best dogs of the week. It's cute.
Wow. So the caveat is it sounds like the dog is usually above a 10 out of 10.
Usually, yes. I don't know if I've seen one below a 10, and it would.
Okay. All right. So we need to create we rate humans, and just so that we can keep on that same scale and just make it 11 out of 10. 12. You know what I mean? We need something to boost everybody's confidence.
Yeah.
We did that. It was a terrible website called Hot or Not, and that was like that was like 2003 and was a terrible idea because people suck towards other people. People are so nice to animals, but like all that stuff, it just ends poorly because people on the internet are not very fun.
For the most part, animals.
Yeah. I mean, if everyone is rating everything 13 out of 10 for a human rating, I feel like we'd all be a lot nicer and happier with each other.
100%. So I mean, it's funny. Like, obviously, we know the compassion people have towards their pets, and we see Wiley on the internet, and we're like, oh, that's a cute dog with the Dalmatian nose. But it's obviously a very, very personal part. It's like your fur child, your fur baby. I know my wife literally does not do anything without Rocky. So we know the tenure. Like, how is y'all relationship in itself? How's that grown since y'all started out? Are you more of like a baby the dog, or are you more like my dog's a tough rumbling dog?
I think I'm kind of right in the middle there. He's a very needy dog, so he requires a lot of babying, but he also has this stubborn independence. I mean, I do see him as basically my child. I think people who say it's just a dog don't fully understand how having a dog in your life works and how much they just fully come in and take over everything, whether it's my bed or just my overall heart. He's been the best companion. He came in, I lived alone with him for a while, and I look back so fondly. We lived in this, I shouldn't say that I lived with a Dalmatian in a studio apartment, but I lived with a Dalmatian in a studio apartment, and it was just him and I in this small space that we'd go on walks and hikes, and we were forced to get out nonstop because you can't keep a dog in a studio apartment. It's one of my favorite periods of my life. It's just the two of us wandering around, and it's nice just to have someone who is ready for whatever you say. It's like, you want to get in the car? Let's go hike. Let's go do this. And he's just like, I don't know why we're excited, but I'm definitely excited with you. Let's do this. And it's pretty cool.
I'm curious, as things took off and now you're transitioning into, okay, I want to go create some content. You talked about this like relationship you have where it's just, I want to get out, I want to experience like the companionship. How has, feeling the pressure to create impacted that ability to like just have that time and live in the moment? Do you feel like there's times when it adds to the experience, or it takes away? I'm curious how you find that balance.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. And especially with a dog who can't tell you like, I'm sick of this, please stop. It's a balance of he is the star of the Instagram profile, but he is still just a dog. And I need to allow him to just be a dog. And He's very good at telling me when he's done posing for pictures, or he just stops. Like, he will not stand. He's trained well to hold a pose, but he's also learned the sound of a camera click, so he hears that and he's like stands up and he's like, okay, give me my treat. I'm over this. So it's a balance. I've found myself a lot of times, like, I'll go out on a hike and I'll just create a lot of content, just take a ton of photos, get a bunch and kind of stockpile it away. So as I hit those lulls where it's like, I just want to be outside with my dog. I want to be responsible for nothing here. I want to share nothing about this with anyone. I just want to be. I don't have to worry about it. I have 500 photos from the hike I did yesterday. So
I love that. I think that's really important, knowing when to just put the phone away. I think as creators, and as I've become more of a creator, and also being married to a creator, it's really funny because, we'll have a really funny, genuine moment, and then one of us will be like, "Oh my gosh, I wish we got that on tape." Right? But sometimes you just got to let it be and just enjoy that, because like that's what like the experience is about, and then you can share part of that experience with your audience. And so when you think about the journey that you and Wiley have gone through, when did you hit a point where you were like, wow, we're making some good money here?
There was a moment where it shifted from brands saying, can I send you a free bandana, to can we pay you to post about this gift box? And it was like, oh. And I remember, like, I look back on texts that I sent my parents, like, oh my gosh, this company just reached out and they want to send me a sticker. And it's like, going from that to, I just recently threw the first pitch at a St. Louis Cardinals game to work with the brand. So this whole thing, it's been a wild journey. And to go from, I was so excited over, oh my gosh, this company saw me. And it was like a company no one knows. I don't think I even knew about them. And they sent me a sticker and it was amazing. To the opportunities it's provided. Now it's crazy to look back on. And I don't think I ever could have predicted anything that's happened when this like tiny little spotted thing was plopped into my lap on the corner of a downtown Denver street.
It's funny. So tell us the Cardinals story. I feel like I have to get the details on this. So like, as that, you said it was with the brand, so I'm assuming there's some kind of brand deal. Like, how did that come? Did they reach out? Did you go outbound? I'm curious how you guys got connected.
Yeah, they reached out to me. It was with Purina. They reached out to me, and they're based in St. Louis, and they have this really cool program out there where they, at the soccer stadium, they've built this dog-friendly space, so you can book like a seat for you and your dog to go to the soccer game. So it was originally like, here's the dates of the games that are home. Could you come out here for any of these? Are you willing to travel? And I was like, heck yes. And then it was actually, we're hosting this Bark at the Park event where we allow dogs into St. Louis Stadium. Would you be open to doing that instead? And the dates I told them was available happened to line up with that. So I was like, sure, whatever. I'm happy to go to any sporting event. It all sounds fun. So we're getting closer. We're going through the brief and stuff. And I get this email one day and they're like, they want to know, it was through their agency, they want to know if you'd be comfortable throwing out a first pitch. They called it the first fetch instead of the first pitch. And I was like, I mean, my throwing arm's not very strong, but I can work on that in the next couple of weeks. Let's do it. Seems crazy to say no to something like that. So it was pretty cool. I got to bring my dad out with me. He was down there. I got to throw the first pitch to him. And they did this whole thing. It was funny. They, on the big scoreboard, it said, "Hi, Wiley." And then in parentheses below it said, "And Lexi."
Oh, that's funny.
That's so funny. I think, I guess to highlight that moment, I feel like you're one of those people who wouldn't, there are people in this world who I feel like could get slightly jealous of the shine. I feel like you're definitely one of the more humble people in this world. So it's great that you're having all these experiences. I'm sure Wiley's enjoying it. I'm sure you're enjoying it, and you're living it to the fullest and just letting Wiley have Wiley shine, which is amazing. So obviously you start getting, some dollars here and there. I'd love to know what the biggest amount of dollars you've gotten from a partnership.
Yeah. I had, it was an ongoing partnership with a dog food brand. This one was probably my biggest over time. And they paid me $2,000 a month to post once a quarter for 2 years. So that was a pretty sweet deal.
Not bad at all.
Posting once a quarter?
Yeah. So I posted once every 3 months, but got a monthly paid so that I could post for the dog food brands. Yeah.
Time to go buy a dog.
Yeah.
Put them out there.
It's so funny talking about like the park, and I think about my dogs, and I just think about the mess that it would be trying to take my dogs to like any sporting event with all these other dogs. I'm like, there would be no watching the game. It would just be absolute chaos. But
I mean, there was a bit of it. I was honestly shocked. It was very well organized, and I don't know how they vet the dogs who come, because it seems like anyone in St. Louis can come, but the dogs did great. It was a really hot day, so all the dogs just kind of laid down and chilled because they were tired, but it went well.
that's crazy. So on the deal you mentioned, how like I'm sure there's all kinds of people out there who are like, okay, how do you even approach a deal like that? Was that something they came out to you with? And then how did you navigate? Because I think for a lot of people, that recurring kind of ambassador program or recurring contract is ideal. Like you find a brand that you really enjoy and you want to support them, and then they can support you long term. How did you go about crafting that deal? And it sounds like you guys have gone your separate ways. Like, how did that kind of run its course?
Yeah. I worked with an agency back during that time, so they kind of brought it to me. It started out as a shorter term deal. It was just kind of like, I think we were both kind of testing the water and seeing how Wiley reacted to the food, and if they liked my content. I think the brand really resonated with how outdoor focused my content was, because their whole concept is like fueling adventures and making the dogs live their best life, or helping the dogs live the best life. So I think because I was able to support and kind of show off that lifestyle that they encourage for dogs, it turned into this longer partnership where they renewed it for 1 year and then 2 years, which was really cool. Ultimately, they got bought out by a large conglomerate holding company that I didn't necessarily trust to make as quality food as I was getting before that happened. So at the end of the contract, it just kind of came to this natural breaking point where I think it's important to me to stay honest about what I'm promoting and actually truly be behind what I put out there. So I stepped away from that one at that time.
I think about a lot of people in that situation. It's like this, you're torn in two directions, and it's hard to walk away from, just a stable $2,000 a month income on top of what you've got going on for principle-based reasons. And, I think that is tough. I think that's a challenge that a lot of creators face in, if the check's big enough, how far do you end up compromising on your values or integrity? It's difficult. And then I think that's also what gets people into trouble, because then they get caught up in these scandals where the product's not everything it was cracked out to be. And then it's like, how dare you betray my trust? And you clearly didn't actually use these shoes or whatever it was. But
right.
Love it. So when you talked a little bit about the food deal getting started, what were some what was like the biggest mistake you think you made along the journey, or something, if you go back, you're like, hey, I wouldn't have done that again?
Yeah. Back in the time when I was excited over being sent a sticker and the littlest things, an agency reached out to me, and I signed on with this agency to represent Wiley, which at first they were great, and it was a great opportunity. I did not thoroughly read the contract and kind of got sucked into this agency's world. And it was a harder thing to get out of, in terms that was harder. And I kind of lost respect for the agency in a lot of ways throughout that whole process and experience. I've parted ways since, but just diving into that without just like getting caught up in the excitement of, oh my gosh, these people want to represent my dog. My dog is going to have an agent, and just diving into that without reading anything, at least not reading it thoroughly, was a big mistake. As part of that, I took Wiley to an event that he was very uncomfortable at, and it was a brutal day. And it was again that line of allowing him to be a dog and giving him space for that, or forcing him into this influencer world. And I think in that instance, I overstepped, and I forced him into a world that he probably shouldn't have been in that moment. So looking back, I probably would not force him to go to this day-long conference where people were just petting him and patting him and introducing other dogs to him the entire time.
Yeah, that's I think for anyone out there, and I use creators as a wide net nowadays, because I know people out there who have 5,000 followers who will, get offers to create content, whether it's user generated content or it's just, a partnership, whatever the case may be, no matter how many followers you are, or you have, based on what you are putting out there. If it's speaking to someone, you could get a brand to approach you. You could get an agency to approach you. I think it's really, really important to be thorough about reading the contracts that you get, and really, really important to vet the agencies that are reaching out to you as well. I think the few things that I would ask every agency is like, one, are you exclusive, non-exclusive? It's really important because I want to know if I'm stuck with you for a while or not. and then beyond that, if you give me an offer, do I have to take it or do I have my options to not take it? And then do I have a limit of amount of money that I have to make you and how much you're making me, right? Like there's so many layers to it that help you understand if this is a mutually reciprocal beneficial relationship, or if it's somebody who wants you there because they can, make money off of you or capitalize on you. So there's a lot of things that go into it. I advise anyone who gets any contracts, even if it seems like a really great opportunity, read it out. And if you have an opportunity to share it with somebody to read it for you, please do. It's critical.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And talk to them too. Part of it, the downfall of my relationship with that agency was just discovering how they were representing me and how they were speaking on my behalf. It was very blunt and rude. And I don't know that they realized I had access to the platform that they were running this campaign through to see the messages going back and forth. And when I did see it and it was flagged to me by colleagues, I was pretty turned off by that whole thing. So.
Wow. Yeah. Look at that. It's so important. Like representation is huge. Your brand is everything. If an agency ruins your brand or your name, they can move on to another person. Like it almost feels like, I wouldn't say they go without being phased, but there's definitely an element of it's your face that's being represented. So they can hide behind the shadows a little bit. So due diligence, that's the long story. As we move on to the next, kind of things that we want to touch on, you've been creating a lot and you've gotten a feel for your content and your content meshes in with your life a lot. Have you ever gotten some opportunities that, like you said, later on in your journey, you turn down some things because you're like, hey, these don't really fit into what's going on for me. But early on in your, journey, did you pick up anything that didn't really conform to what you were doing? And you're like, all right, I got to do it anyway. I'm going to do it because I need money or whatever the case.
Yes and no. I got lucky that a lot that came to me fit naturally. I think I'm in a pretty specific genre of content with dog stuff. And it's like, if the quality of ingredients and stuff in terms of treats and food are great, that's fine. Otherwise, it's like, promote this dog toy. And my dogs are not picky when they play with a dog toy. Like, that's fine. So there hasn't been a lot that's come to me. There's been some that it's been like, oh, this is going to take some creativity to post about this with a dog, like a grocery service that doesn't sell dog food. And I have to post about something that they sent me. It's like, okay, cleaning products, something. There's been a tough one, and I've definitely walked away from a few. I've had a few that I've been actually in like a contract with, and there's a good chunk of change behind it that some things caused like a skin irritation on my dog that I just said I can't post about this collar, or a dog treat that kept me up all night because my dog's stomachs were upset. So I was like, can't post about this one either. I think it's important to be honest. I think I choose to believe that those kind of saying no from those things will pay its dividends in the long run, and it'll come back tenfold if I just stay true to who I am and what I believe. So I try to follow that line as much as I can to that line.
That's great. I was going to say, if you need any ideas for cleaning products and dogs, I've got an entire winter's worth of cleaning.
We're past the point of cleaning messes, but still some.
Scott, what kind of dogs do you have, by the way?
We have a German Shepherd, and we have a Rhodesian Ridgeback kind of mix. So she's got like the Rhodesian stripe across the back where the hair goes backwards. But my dog is like 2 knee replacements in, and yeah, they're amazing. Love them, but it has been quite the journey. And then we had the coolest dog other than Wiley, but we had this monster brindle Great Dane that was like head up to like my rib cage, like huge dog. Passed at 3 years old of bone cancer, but was like the coolest. I mean, stereotypical Great Dane, just like big, doofy, human-sized dog. But no, I think that is one reason why when I like look at Wiley and some of the other dog influencers, I think it's people find this connection and it makes them remember, or think about their animals or think about that relationship they had. There's so many like growing up with a dog memories. Like I can think about the dogs that I had as a kid, and Lexi and I talked off about like Nala stomps. And I think about, we had a golden retriever named Casey, and I see Casey whenever I see like Nala stomps. And it's like those memories, the hiking, the camping, the having fun, the like a different time in your life when you weren't saddled up with work and kids and life and all this stuff. And you were just free to be like a 13-year-old camping in the woods, doing whatever, breaking sticks and trying to catch fish and stuff. I think there is something. And I think it's something about social media. It just connects on a level and it almost transports people into different realities or different memories into their own, childhood or past or times. So I think it's cool to think about Wiley doing that for others, or social media content, living vicariously through these other people or animals or relationships.
Yeah. So my growing up with a dog story, we didn't have dogs when I was super young, but when I went to college, one of my friends needed a dog sitter for, I don't know, like a week or so. So she, brought her dog over. It was a blue nose pit. And her name was Cleo, and she hung out with me for about a week. And then I found out, or we found out that she said she couldn't keep the dog anymore. I think this was like it was kind of a misleading, hey, watch my dog, until like, hey, can you keep my dog forever? But I was like, you know what? Hey, I'll take the dog. So I had Chloe for about a month, but unfortunately, I was living in Delaware at the time. I was living in an apartment complex. And since Chloe was a pit bull, there were strict laws with owning a pit, And so I had to actually return Chloe, and then she ended up finding a new home for her. But it's really funny because every time I go through my Instagram, if I ever see a blue nose pit, I always think to myself, like, I wonder if I saw Chloe right now, would Chloe remember me, So I do think it's really fun for people to kind of live vicariously through the experiences that people are having. And pet Instagram is definitely a warm place. So we thank you for being part of that. But with that being said, you've probably had a lot of cool experiences through your social media, right?
Sure.
Is there anything that you would say that you dislike about the social media world?
Yeah, I mean, it has its ups and downs and two sides of every coin. I get a lot of really amazing experiences. There's a lot of really cool people that I've been able to connect with and talk to and chat with as a result. There's some people that are just like Wiley diehard fans who I post a post and they are commenting on it in the first 2 seconds. And it's like that first comment. And it's like, oh, I've reached first comment fighting status in the world. But you do get a lot of negative attention, even a dog. And it's wild to me the things that people will get. It's like, I guess it's wild to me how little hobbies some people have, because it's like you're getting on an account to message mean messages to a Dalmatian right now. It's saying more about you than it is about Dalmatian. But you get a lot of those and a lot of pressure behind it. I think people, like, I only show bits and pieces of my life with Wiley. Like I said, there's times I just want to put the phone away. And if I go a week without posting a hike on Wiley with Wiley, it doesn't mean I didn't hike with Wiley that week. It means I didn't post about it. And people are like, has he been cooped up in your house? Like, there's a lot of pressure of taking care of this dog in the correct way. Or I posted a joke reel recently that gained a lot of traction. And it was like, I work hard so my dog can poop in these places. And I have a montage of photos of Wiley pooping in beautiful places, and just take those photos and building a calendar, and people latch onto it. And most people love it. But I get the people who are like, how dare you invade your dog's privacy like that? That is so rude. What would you do if he did that to you? One person was like, do it with your own ass if you're going to expose someone like that. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, calm down, people. And it's fun. I mean, I kind of gamify it, or it's like, what can I say back to them? But yeah, people get very concerned about that. It's like, maybe he shouldn't do it in the middle of the road if he wants to.
I feel like that's going to be... That's going to be the title of this episode. Do it with your own ass. Like,
it's like, I'm trying to plan a calendar, and like, if you're going to exploit your dog like that, do it with your own ass. It's like, maybe I'll be December. You don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. So dealing with that is hard. And then again, just kind of balancing that. What am I willing to post about? Clearly, dog poop qualifies, but what am I willing to post about, and pushing back and having those hard conversations with people who come wanting me to promote a product that I don't necessarily support can get tough too.
I think it's a great example of just, I mean, one would think that a cute dog in the internet is not controversial, but I think it goes to show that, you know, there's nothing above reproach when it comes to, you know, internet comments and I, you know, one of the beauties of social and the world is you are free to have your own diverse beliefs and your own particular stances on what is right and what is wrong. And I think as someone living in that world, you know, in the world, you have to make your own decisions on how you want to, you know, be represented. And then I'm a big fan of just believing in maximizing net positivity. And I think at the end of the day, you know, how can you do the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people? And just realize that no matter what happens, not everyone will be happy, and not everyone, it will align with their belief system or their structure. And that's going to be okay. You're not breaking laws. You're not doing anything out of bounds. And I just think, I think it's easy to be centered in your decisions when you're maximizing net positivity. So
for sure, I always remind myself that if you go to Google, you'll see that the Pacific Ocean has 4 out of 5 stars in the reviews, because sometimes water isn't wet enough, and there's always going to be those people who rate the ocean 4 out of 5 stars because it's not wet enough, and you can't help those people. You can just keep doing your thing.
I love there's a world where we can rate the ocean on a 5-star system in Google. This is what we needed.
That's amazing. So
we'll meet them.
So Lexi, we're at a part, a little segment in this conversation where we're going to ask you a couple quick questions, just a speed round, right? This or that, and then give us a sentence or two about why so. You think you're ready for that?
We'll see. Right. I think
so. All right, cool. So quick social media, this or that. TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram. I'm a photographer. My background's in photography, and I think Instagram supports that more than TikTok does. I know TikTok has those like carousels you can do, but it's not the same.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you might have answered this one already, but then video or static photo?
Photo content. I'm playing with video more and using my camera and kind of trying to find joy and diving into tools like Premiere Pro, but photography will always have my heart. It always wins for me. Yeah, despite the algorithm.
All right. So long-term or short-term partnership?
I prefer the long-term ones. I think my content can be more genuine the longer I work with the brand. I think it looks better when it's like, yes, I still promote this product. Yes, I'm still feeding my dog this dog food. It wasn't just to get that one-time paycheck. And I just enjoy it. I think I build a relationship and I can show my creativity more in a long-term partnership than just here's a product, figure out how to post about it in a week.
I can dig it. And then story or grid?
I like both. It depends on what I'm posting. I mean, if it's just like, I keep my grid pretty much all just like straight out of camera photography. Like that is my professional photography portfolio, and my story is like, this is the real life day to day. Here's my dog hanging upside down on the bed, being weird on a grainy iPhone photo. So I have fun with that. I make little movie montages of all our hikes for story. I guess I prefer video if it's doing story and photo on grid.
I feel like we should have a whole episode dedicated to story versus grid. I have such deep feelings about stories. It kills me. I'll be like, oh yeah, I saw this thing and I can never find it again or explain it. And it's one of those like, it leads to a lot of terrible stories where I'm trying to describe a piece of content. Have you ever had those moments when you're like, oh, it was the funniest video, this happened and that, and like your depiction of whatever happened in that story was freaking terrible. But I'm sure the content was funny, but it's gone forever.
So my parents don't understand story content. Like my brother will text our family group chat talking about something I posted, and 3 days later my dad responds saying, I didn't see it, where is it? And it's like,
it's like gone forever. Yeah, you'll never see it. It's like that.
Yeah, I know. I remember when I lived in my old apartment, I had this insanely cool capture of it was a super stormy night. And so everything was gray, but the sun was just setting in the back. And I recorded it and I put Skyfall, the song, Adele's song over it. and it was probably the coolest story I've ever taken. And till today, I am so upset I didn't save that story.
You can't go through your archive?
You can go back to your archive. Have you tried it?
So the unfortunate thing about the archive is even if you're able to get it and put it into a highlight, you can't save it the same way. You have to screen record, so you don't get it at the same quality. So it's unfortunate. I wish you could go back, put it in a highlight, and then save it. Which I think you might be able to save the whole highlight and then just clip it. Look at that. This is ideation.
Do that for sure.
This is the same reason I record. This is a good question. Do you record in-app stories, or do you record and then publish the story?
I record on my camera and then publish the story. So
I just can't record in-app. I'm too committed. I'm like, if I lose this, I'm gonna be so mad. So I'm like, record everything and then trim it, put it in.
And the quality, I think the quality is better. Just straight iPhone camera, and you can edit it. You can cut more.
Yeah, we got to drop our top tips for saving archive content, shooting camera versus an app, all this stuff. I'm curious. We should do a little survey of our creator community later and see some of these. I'd be curious to see what people are doing.
People are, I think the biggest struggle with stories and video content is I want to post a song that spans from my first story to the last story without having to do the math of, okay, this song was 15 seconds and it started at 9 seconds into the song. That's the feature I need from Instagram. Please, at Instagram.
Say it louder for the people in the back. Developers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's the most annoying thing, man. I could have to spend an hour putting up a story just because I want the song to align across it for it to sound cooler. And it's like, y'all couldn't just create a feature where I could just put a bunch of 15-second clips in and just link the but anywho,
it takes so much focus because it's like, okay, 9 seconds, 5 seconds, because the next one starts at 14, and you upload it.
Kwame like, okay, I'm going to go into CapCut. I'm going to stitch it all together, make a reel of it, overlay the soundtrack, export it, recut it into 15-minute segments, and post them all as stories.
Yes. One or the other. It's way too much effort at Instagram.
Exactly. And unfortunately, CapCut doesn't license songs. So you can't do, and it's, oh my goodness, it is a mess. I know. The whole social game is messed up. This is our joint application for you Meta, Instagram, all the social media networks. We are here to consult to make you a little better, okay?
I'm here to help. I'm here to help you help me.
Okay, I'm going to call our dev team, see if we can make this. We'll turn to an app. It'll crash. It'll be great. The multi-story single song, whatever. We'll come with a better app name.
Yeah.
So, Lexi, one question we asked to everyone, and I'm curious, if you had one aspirational brand, one partner that if they reached out, you would be running around with Wiley, jumping in your living room, who would that partner be with to work with?
Ooh, I have a few, I think. Canon cameras, for sure, as a photographer. Toyota, which I have worked with them in the past, but would like to do it again. And it was a really cool experience. And Taco Bell. If Taco Bell wants to hang out, I will eat Crunchwrap Supremes on every road trip from here on out.
I think someone, I was trying to think, maybe it was Marcel. Basically, I do work was talking about Taco Bell, but I think this
no, it was Kay.
Was it Kay? Okay.
Yes, Kay did a partnership. Kay did a partnership with Taco Bell where they brought all these creators.
Right.
Yes, which super cool. So Taco Bell, you hear that? Lexi wants to work with you as well. Hopefully, you can invite her to the next house get together.
Dog's not the only one who has to eat. The owner has to eat on these adventures too.
Exactly. So look, we're running up on the end of this. I'd love to know what you and Wiley are working on right now. Do you have any cool partnerships up ahead that you're allowed to talk about already, or like who are you pitching to? All that good stuff.
Right. We haven't worked with brands for a little while now. I've kind of been taking a break and stepping back from that world and just taking photos because I like taking photos and kind of resetting that ways. But we do have next month, we're going on a massive road trip out to the West Coast. The Pacific Northwest will be in your area. And because of the viral pooping video, we are working with a hotel chain who will be sponsoring this entire road trip to help assist Wiley poop in new, beautiful places. So that should be fun.
Isn't that amazing
I love it.
how it all comes together? Just a pooping video that went up. Look, if you have an idea, don't hold yourself back. Put it on the internet. Something good can happen.
Anything can go viral these days.
Scott seems like he has second thoughts about it. What's your reservation here?
I don't know about everything needs to be on the internet. Oh. Well, amazing. Lexi, it's great to have you. If people want to find you and Wiley, where should they go? Where can they find you and all your awesome content?
My handle is at hi.wiley, hi.wiley. People think it's the other hi because mountains and stuff, but it's hi.wiley across TikTok and Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today. It has been a pleasure. We love your content. Love Wiley. Awesome. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Yes, 100%. Excited. Thank you for the conversation. Just wanted to mention it's our 19th episode, so I decided to throw on a polo today. Very demure. That's the look I'm going for. So, mindful. Yes, thank you. All right, y'all. Have a great day. We will see y'all next week. Bye-bye.
See you.